Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the Zoids Wild Death Rex that you can see here. As usual, I'll be unboxing and building and then showing off its movement. There's a couple of problems with this video though, so I've put links to the various sections in the description below if you just want to skip ahead to the footage of it in motion, which may or may not be the only thing you really want to see here anyway. And while I'm talking about the links in the description, I've also set up a Patreon, so you might want to take a look at that. But now let's just get going here. So we'll start with the box. I'm actually filming this like a week after the rest of this, so there's nothing in here anymore. But I did want to show you guys the box because I really like this box art. That's why. As you can see, it looks a lot more like an illustration than the usual photo manipulation that you get on Zoids Wild boxes, and it's kind of crazy and silly and over the top, and some people don't like it for that reason, but that's exactly why I actually do like it. Otherwise, there's nothing out of the ordinary going on here. You get your bone mode, regular mode, and wild blast mode on the back, and all of the other usual stuff. Like I said, the box is empty, but I think no, there's nothing in there. So yeah, I can't show you, but it actually comes with one of those pull-out trays because it's actually the same size and basically the same type of box as for the Brachiosaurus. Yeah, so let's take a look what's inside here. Right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this one bag at a time because I don't see how else I'm going to be able to make this work. There's way too much stuff here to sort of lay it all out on the table. So, first of all, we have A1 here, which is actually just these two parts. This is obviously the torso halves. You can see here there's a ton of detail, which is really nice, of course. Tubing, pistons, rotating greeblies. I mean, rotating, you know, looking like they're supposed to rotate. Awesome. A2 is somewhere here on my pile. There we go. This is A2. And what we have in here is, this is neck or tail, I guess. The usual bone mody looking things. This is the contraption that's going to move the something. Looks like it goes this way. Lots of detail on everything. This seems to be one of the legs. Looks longer than I expected, but yeah, we'll see how I feel about that. My big issue with the Death Rex is that I think the legs are too short, so we'll see. Piston here, tube here. This actually has this sort of indented pattern here that looks really cool. It's another one of these moving levers and two more bone things. A3 is silver. The feet, very detailed. More mechanical stuff that's going to contribute to the movement, all dressed up to look like actual detail. We've got this similar pattern here to the hose I showed you earlier. Hose here. This looks like pistons. This is going somewhere on the belly or on the back, no doubt. Clamp part to hold the body halves together. Another one of these flat things. Mechanical stuff. That was, oh, actually, I'm sorry, that was A4. Actually, this one is A3. There are 4 A backs. Come on. This looks like it's got the head and some stuff. Get rid of that. Yeah. This is one of the head halves, obviously. This is the bottom. Looks, whoops, sorry. Head halves again, big, chunky, toothy, nice. This is the tip of the tail, lots of detail. This is shaped to look like a blade. Also has a nasty sprue mark on it. The other two halves of the head, and little tiny T-Rex arms. That, I have to say, it's nice that we're finally getting a T-Rex Zoid with arms that are actually T-Rex sized, you know. Here's the other one. This is the power switch, no doubt. And two little rib pieces. Okay. B is just one bag. Oops. All of the armor, of course. This is a very nice, actually, dark, sort of wine red color. Pretty cool. Also, I'm not seeing a whole lot of marbling here. It's actually pretty good. Of course, it's this slightly, there's some marbling here. This slightly metallic looking stuff, again, which I'm not a big fan of. If I want metallics, I'll airbrush them myself. The more or less smooth armor piece here, and yeah, it's just lots of armor pieces. They're actually not as detailed as the inside, which is fine. Should look cool when it's all put together, you know, smooth armor and greebly inner skeleton. Yeah, I don't think we need to look at every single one of these individually, do we? They're all, it's armor, it's red, it's got little round, I don't know, gas tank covers everywhere. Yeah, that's the armor. And finally, the contents of the S bag, which I'm going to be a little more careful with because I want to put them back in there so I don't lose them. The eyes, as usual, are in a separate bag. There's a couple more mechanical pieces here. What I really want to look at is, okay, this is the thing for the Wild Blast, which I was kind of hoping this would be a Gatling gun, but, you know. I don't know what that's supposed to be, blades, I guess, and it lights up, that's why it's clear. And yeah, the caps are purple, and they're the ones with the little pointy thing in the middle. And finally, here's the decal sheet. Nothing you wouldn't expect here. The pilot's name apparently is Galaga. I don't know. I think I've mentioned before I'm really behind on the anime, but I'm just hoping the next guy's name is gonna be R-Type or something, or Thunder Force 4 preferably. That was my favorite. Anyway, yeah, death metal, Galaga, numbers, a couple different versions of the death metal emblem. Just pretty much what you'd expect. Now, this is me starting the build, and I should probably explain at this point why you're hearing me narrate this. And it's real simple. I just completely screwed up the audio when I was filming this, and the only way I can get this out there now is if I just narrate over it. So this is going to be awkward, but bear with me. Anyway, as you can see, the build starts with inserting this thing that's going to rotate during the Wild Blast afterwards, and it's going to light up. That's why it's clear. And then you see me digging for parts because I am looking for... right, this is one of the mechanical pieces that drive the movement of the arms. And it's a little difficult to get on, and this is why you see me fiddling with it here for a while. See, the problem is that there's this tab that it has to snap behind, and that's actually quite thick. You can see it there next to my thumb. And I'm trying to press it in without snapping that thing off, basically. See, now I pointed at it. I'm trying to press this thing behind it without snapping it off, and it's a little scary. But ultimately I did get it in. And then it slides back and forth, and it's nice and solid and works really well, of course. Now I think what I'm doing here is that I'm flipping the pages in the instructions already, because these instructions are, you know, this is actually a pretty simple build, which is why it bugs me so much that, you know, that I screwed up the audio, because this is basically the only thing that went wrong here. So the only thing that went wrong is everything, right? Anyway, it's actually a really simple build, and the instructions are so super duper child friendly that basically, like, every single part is a separate step in the instructions. So it's basically 4 parts per 2 pages, and then I have to turn the page again. So there's going to be a lot of interruptions in this, with me sort of reaching over to my right and flipping the pages in the instructions, like right now. Yeah, this goes over this crank piece, and it's going to help drive the movement of the legs. As you can see here, there's 3 pegs holding the leg in place, and if you're a Zoids connoisseur like me, you know that means there's actually a proper joint in the legs. It's the only thing that can mean, and it is true. It doesn't have knees, unfortunately, but the feet are jointed properly, and that they're not just flopping around. They're actually attached firmly, and they move along with the legs by means of a 2-lever mechanism that you're going to see me attach later. That was the spike on the back that sits on the power switch that I just attached off camera because I'm an idiot. Next we put this in place, same thing as on the other side, of course. Yeah, I'm wondering a little if the angle here is different. I'm actually looking at this now and wondering again. It's not really possible. Anyway, that's in place, and we close her up. Not without fiddling to flip the page though. Okay, that is one big ass torso all snapped together, except for this little thing that of course slides on the, I guess that's where the collarbone would be. Next are these 3 pieces that go on the back, on these moving fin things that move up and down during the Wild Blast mode. And I have no idea why I'm not just getting to it here, but anyway, you see each one looks different, so you have to make sure you put them on in the right order, of course. Also preferably without snapping off the pieces that they go onto. Just kind of an ongoing theme here. I was really worried a couple of times that I would break something for whatever reason. And yep, there's everything in place. And I'm flipping the page. I think the construction of the legs is next. Yep, there we go. Actually, no, wait. Yeah, this is, you can see this poking out the back a little there. This is one of the parts that actually drive the movement of the tail, which has its own internal mechanism, but it's sort of nudged side to side by these levers. But then it has a mechanism on the inside that makes the second segment swing back side to side. I mean, swing side to side properly, and not just because of momentum and gravity, which is nice. Now here's me making, this is the only time really I made a colossal mistake, and it's totally harmless because it's easily fixable. This gray piece does not belong on that peg, and here's me realizing it right about now, because ain't no rubber cap gonna fit on the rest of that peg, is it? What am I doing? There's a hole. There's a peg. Oh. As you can see, the peg is actually the perfect length for that part. This one's perfect for this part. Locks into 3 places. Everything fits. Rubber caps. Couldn't be engineered better, yet I somehow managed to fuck it up. What can I say, guys? What can I say? Anyway, foot goes on next, and as you can see, it attaches in two places. So this silver piece on the back there actually helps move the feet properly, or well, this one foot. And there's another one on the other side, which moves that foot, because there are 2 feet, plural. I say, filling the space as my past self is turning the page on the instructions. I think I just forgot to put one of them T-Rex arms on, but that's no big deal. You just do that afterwards. Here's, of course, another one of those lever pieces. Now I'm realizing that this is loose, of course. Because it's this lever piece that makes it slide back and forth. Yeah, I forgot to mention this on the other side. This is like, I guess, a continuation of his rib cage, which I guess means its butt has ribs, which may or may not be accurate because the tail probably does, but oh well. Anyway, here's me getting it right the first time after I screwed it up on the other side. Except I'm kind of struggling to get this in place. Yeah, it's because there's another loose peg there, of course. Now I got it. It's pretty ingenious, actually. You know, there's this part on the inside that slides up and down, and the black part you're looking at actually moves it up, and then on our left at the moment is where the silver piece attaches, so that just moves up and down along with the black part. It's pretty cool. And I don't actually remember a walking mechanism on an 80s Zoid being engineered exactly this way. It's actually kind of a new way of doing things from what I remember. Unless I'm forgetting something on the latter day NJR Zoids. Like Gojulus Giga had a pretty complicated walking mechanism too, but I really don't remember how that went together. I built it when it first came out one time and that's it, so who knows. Built a lot more Zoidzillas in my time. I'm just realizing, if you went back in time and told 6-year-old me that I would one day at the age of 40 say the sentence, "I've built a lot more Zoidzillas in my time than I've built other things," I think the excitement would literally give me a brain hemorrhage and kill me. Anyway, the arm goes in place like this, and you have to be kind of careful to get that peg in the right place, which is what I was blathering about over the screwed up noise that my microphone was making. The other arm goes on the same way, of course. And you attach it with a cap. And that's it. I think it was at this point that I was beginning to realize that the legs aren't actually as stumpy as you think they are. It's just that the thing's belly goes pretty low. But if you look at where the legs are actually attached and you know, put them in proportion with the length of the torso, the legs are almost as long as the entire torso, so they're not that short. It's really just the fact that they're attached so high up that makes them look that way, which may actually be anatomically accurate for a T-Rex. The other thing is that the head's really big. Anyway, I'm putting the tail together here, which as usual has this weird sort of centipede look to it. You can see here there's an internal mechanism that actually makes it move, you know, properly and not just sort of flop around because the Zoid's walking. I always prefer that. See, here you go, wiggle, 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 and it actually moves correctly. And has a blade on the end for no apparent reason. And then of course you attach the tail, pretty simple stuff. Goes on like that. And try not to break anything. And yeah, with the tail on, it's even more clear that the legs aren't actually as stumpy as you think they are. Get moving, dude. Jesus, I talk too much. Okay, looks like we've just got the head left. I also have no idea why I was just giving the thumbs up, by the way. Or what I'm talking about here. I think I made an edit, but... Anyway, this is my second attempt recording this narration. Whatever stupid shit I say from here on out, I'm not re-recording it, folks, so... yeah, this is a little piece of mechanism that helps drive the head. Also, not exactly like anything I think I've seen before. Two pegs, two holes. I'm confused. Second half goes on. Squish them together. We make a nice big fat seam line like on every Zoids Wild kit so far. That's really going to be a problem when I paint these things. Like, unless I hand paint, I'm not going to be able to get rid of that seam line. You know, it's just going to be there. Anyway, the jaw locks in place back there somehow, which helps move it. And it's another case of like this in several places. Like this Zoid has these slits that then there's a part in there that nudges something up and down, and you have to make sure that you put the peg on the right side of that part. So you want to watch out for that in the instructions. Right, same thing on the other side, of course. Get them chompers in place. And now you can also see that the point of the mechanism is that the bottom and the lower half of the head are both able to move. So it doesn't open and close its mouth just by sort of dropping its jaw, and the top half of the head stays in place, like on most older designs. So that's really cool. Just, you know, there's some simple improvements to past designs sometimes on these Zoids Wild kits, where you sort of feel like they go, you know, we're not going to make this complicated. We're not putting joints in the frickin' legs. But hey, here's a simple thing that we can do better than 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 25 years ago. How long was it? Forever ago. Yeah, and here I just turned it on for a second to see how it would walk, and it's just about to snap into its Wildblast mode, which is really exciting to watch from the top down. But I am not editing this. I'm just going to keep talking over it because I got to get this video finished. What a pro I am. Yeah, here you can see it walking. And it's pretty smooth. Better footage of it walking later on, of course. Alright. Now I'm about to lay it down again. You see what I'm saying about the proportions, right? I mean, it really looks better than you think it's going to, but if the head was just a little smaller, I don't know. Anyway, a couple of armor pieces and we're done here. If I can stop blathering. Again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Oh, right. Just, I'm pointing out how big it is because, you know, this is an A3 sized cutting mat, which means it's like, what is that, 42 centimeters long, and the Death Rex is actually the entire length of the cutting mat. It's pretty damn big. Right, so these armor pieces go on the rump, I think. And it's really kind of cool. You can see me point this out in a second, how they fit around the detail there. Just looks really good. And I'm digging for parts and wondering where they go. More back armor. This actually also looks pretty good. Just the fact that these are like separate pieces. It's a small touch, but just adds to it. Just, I don't know, the more detailed impression of it overall. This could have just been one piece, but it looks much better as two. And I'm turning the page. And I'm turning it around so that it faces the same way as in the instructions so that I don't make an ass of myself. Right, that's the armor for the tail, obviously. It's kind of funny. It looks a lot like the Gapper which means that sort of you can tell how Zoids Wild is actually sort of developing its own design language, and you've got elements that repeat themselves, like these pegs and the rivets, and it's just it's really cool to watch because these are coming out really fast, but the design is kind of developing at the same time. And I mean, I like these kits, so it's really kind of been fun watching this sort of new breed of Zoids emerge. Yeah, anyway, this obviously covers up that entire like fan contraption, whatever that's meant to be. I'm guessing that's what it is. It all really sort of reminds me of the charged particle cannon on the Genosaur, actually, where it has these, you know, this fin thing that looks like it, I don't know, powers up somehow, and then the cannon in its mouth. I wonder if that's what it is. Can't be bothered to Google it though, and so I'm just making stuff up. Anyway, I'm wondering where this goes. It goes on the cockpit numbnuts, because what you're looking at there, the pointy thing that points upwards, that's actually the cockpit seat. Yeah, put it on, dude. Just like, yeah, it won't hurt much. See that? What am I honestly have no idea what I'm talking about here. Come on, do it. This is really triggering my OCD now. That's a neck armor piece, I think. Or the dashboard, depending on how you look at it. Some of those cases where the soft plastic is kind of messing with you. Yeah, now I got it in place. I've complained about this before, right? One of the things that kind of bug me about Zoids Wild is this really soft plastic that sometimes makes it hard to tell if the parts are actually snapped together properly. Man, this is like the easiest part and I'm taking forever. Honestly can't remember why. Yeah, it's the leg armor, I think. I just moved that thing out of the way to make sure that oh yeah, too many pegs. Mike is confused. No, not like that. Oh man. You know, watching this back without sound sort of makes me realize why when I look at my YouTube stats, like no one ever watches these videos all the way through, and I'm beginning to figure out why. Maybe I should stop doing these build videos. I don't know. All right, leg armor is on, and now these weird like I don't know. I'm not a fan of these. But anyway, I'm about to snap them in place. Put on the decorative rubber cap first. And yep, that's where that goes. And here's me thinking about how to get this in place and where to hold it so I can apply pressure without snapping everything off. And of course wondering which part goes on which side. Gotta have that. And there's the cable dangling into the shot. And despite the fact that the cable's still dangling, you know, the reason I messed up the sound was because I was trying to attach the cable to its surroundings in a way that it wouldn't dangle in the shot like it did last time. And what happened instead is I kept banging it against my light source, and that's why I'm actually doing this narration now. So it's really gratifying that it's backwards, you idiot. Okay, one of these two isn't on correctly. Oh man. What am I doing? Kill me, please. Yes, turn it around. I love how I already got one on, and then the second one I'm like, ugh. I'm a special boy, what can I say? Alright. There's the Wild Blast armor flappy things that to me look like fern leaves crossed with orchid flowers or something. Now I gotta get the eyes on. Which I actually think by now I've actually kind of figured out how to tell them apart, so I get these on without much confusion. Because I'm looking at them first. Is this the left eye or is this the right eye? I do not know. Ah, I popped it in. It is correct, yeah. This one. And as usual, getting in the eyes without putting on the armor makes the Zoid look surprised. Alright, head armor and we're done, I think. Oh no, look, I forgot those two caps when I was putting the head together. It's got little caps on the side, like for no reason, except Zoidzilla had them, so Deathrex has to have them too. That's all the reason in the frickin' world you'll ever need for a rubber cap, as far as I'm concerned. You see how these... yeah, these things just don't stay in place. It's one of the things I hate about them. They're all floppy. Like if you pick them up by its tail, they just flop forward. Right, there's the head armor. And I think that completes the build. Oh yeah, of course, gotta get the pilot on. Und it, und, I just said und instead of and I didn't do it on purpose. Oh my god, my German accent is finally getting the better of me. Actually, what I was going to say is, like I pointed out before, this thing has a really cool sort of pilot throne, as you can see. It's one of the better things about this Zoid. I mean, there's a lot of good things about it, but that's one of my favorites. Anyway, that's about it. We're almost done here. Or actually, we are done. That was the last bit that I needed to attach, so I went off camera for a second to get the stickers on. And yeah, let's take a look at this guy in action, folks. So to start us off, here's a kind of an anticlimactic top-down shot of it walking. What you can see best here, though, is the tail movement. And it's just about to kick into Wild Blast mode, which looks like this. These things swing forward, a lot like on the Brachiosaurus. The mouth opens and closes, and yeah, you'll see what that looks like a lot better in the next shot. So yeah, see this. I guess it's a charged particle cannon in his mouth. Lights up and rotates. It does his thing after every other step where it stops, which is, I guess, it's like on the Wild Liger as the Wild Blast mode sort of charges up. And yeah, here we go again. These claw things swing forward. You can see the entire cockpit moves up and down on its neck, along with those fin pieces. The jaw almost looks like it unhinges. And it keeps on trucking. And here's a slightly more dramatic view of that. Um, I don't know about you, but these big swinging things on the side here, same problem for me as on the Brachiosaurs, even though they're a bit less hollow looking and internally detailed. It just doesn't work for me. I really think the whole thing would look much better without them. I really don't get what that's supposed to be. But anyway, here's a couple pictures. So final thoughts. I really dig this one. It's not perfect. The proportions are just a tad bit off, although nowhere near as bad as we thought they were going to be when we saw the pictures. Like I just said, the Wild Blast mode would work better for me without the big swinging armor, claw, fern leaf things, whatever they're supposed to be. But hey, it's a giant robotic T-Rex, and I'm a fan of Zoids, so I'm not exactly going to poo-poo this guy. And it's also, I don't know if I mentioned this during the build, it's the first time that we've actually had something that at least sort of resembles an anatomically correct T-Rex, as far as the arm size goes anyway. So, yeah, Zoids Wild is going bigger and badder with every round of releases, and of course, I'm all for that. So, looking forward to the next batch. I think the next one I should get in is the Stego Sage, so you can expect that to happen soon. And yeah, anyway, I had a lot of fun making this despite all the problems. I'm guessing everyone else, every one of you has already turned off the video at this point. If you haven't, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll have a new one coming soon. Stego Sage is already shipped, so should be at my house any day now.